Welcome to today's session with Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. Before we dive into today's topic, let's quickly go over a few housekeeping details. Throughout this session, you can send in your questions using the chat feature, and we'll do our best to address them. If you're interested in staying updated on future events, be sure to follow Dr. Campbell on all social media channels using the handle @Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. To contact Dr. Campbell outside of this event, simply scan the QR code that appears on your screen. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our host, Dr. Lisa L. Campbell.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live session on embracing your inner confidence. Yesterday was an emotional roller coaster for me. And you probably are wondering, well, why? Well, first, the roller coaster went high in the air, and I was excited with my hands in the air because I got a proof copy of my new book, Grow With Me. And a few hours later, I got a text message from someone that said, just sending some information, might be helpful, might not be helpful. And so I started to read it. And it was about the do's and don'ts for book covers. And in the guidance, it was things like the book has a title, but no subtitle. The outfit was cute, but it didn't represent the content of the book. And the list kind of went on. And I found myself getting in a somber state. Now, this is supposed to be a happy time. And then I realized you have to do what's in your heart. Some of the recommendations I thought were great, and I definitely will incorporate them. But I have to move forward in my unique, authentic way. So now I got a little curious and I said, well, what do other books look like? I'm an avid reader. And so I started to pull out some of my books that I've read in the last 6 months. So I have Ashley Kirkwood, Speak Your Way to Cash. Subtitle, cute picture, Robin Roberts. Everybody got something. That is so true. Carol Dweck, Mindset. No picture, because it's about the mind. Michelle Obama, Becoming. And then I grabbed a couple of more. The Genius Zone. A new one I just got this week, T.D. Jakes, Disruptive Thinking. And you see T.D. Jakes on the cover, not on the back. And I started, wait a minute. I'm not as big as T.D. Jakes yet. I looked on the back of mine, no photo, title again. And then I picked up the book that I'm reading right now. Ignite Your Power, Your Purpose, and Your Why. You owe you. So my message to you tonight, as we delve into embracing your inner confidence, you owe you. I want you to drop that in the chat. I owe me. I owe me. So from a definition perspective, what's inner confidence? Well, let me think. It's that deep belief that you have in yourself, your abilities, without any external validation. It's that unshakable assurance that comes within. It allows you to trust your instincts because you owe you. Inner confidence goes beyond the surface level, and it's rooted in a deep sense of self-worth and self-acceptance. So I want to give you 4 characteristics of inner confidence. First is self-awareness. And self-awareness happens to be one of the areas of emotional intelligence. And self-awareness begins with a deep understanding of who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your passions. It involves being in tune with your emotions and your thoughts. It will lead to greater clarity and authenticity. So I showed you books from individuals that are all authentic in their own right. I'm a sports fanatic. I love football, married into football actually, but I also love basketball. And I think about Michael Jordan, and I think about his gym shoe that was different than everybody else's. And I realized that sometimes we get caught up in all the noise that's around us and in us, that it keeps us from moving forward. The second characteristic is resilience. I talked about resilience last week, I believe. It's that inner confidence that enables you to bounce back, like I bounced back from that text message. And don't get me wrong, the person who sent me that text message, I love her. She did not mean any ill intent. It was information. And when you receive information, you read it and you make a decision what is going to work. You can discuss it with your community, but don't allow it to delay you. Resilience provides the strength to learn from your failures, adapt to change, but most importantly, to continue moving forward. The third characteristic, positive self-talk. Now, oftentimes my husband Paul will say, "Who are you talking to?" Well, sometimes I have a conversation with myself as I'm thinking through processes, but I never, ever, ever answer myself back. But positive self-talk is where you replace the negative thoughts and you reaffirm them with empowering and affirmative statements. I am enough. I owe me. And as Coach LaShawn says, I choose me. When you have a supportive inner voice, you can boost your confidence and your belief in your capabilities. Number 4, courage. Inner courage is really something that it's a struggle, but inner confidence aligned with courage gives you the willingness to step out of your comfort zone, take risk, and embrace new opportunities. How many times do you set a New Year's resolution and then the year comes and goes and it doesn't happen? I'm going to get smaller. I'm going to get bigger. I'm going to build muscle. You have to face your fears head on, real time. Don't be in reactive mode so much. Being in reactive mode will wear you out. So now we talked about the 4 characteristics of inner confidence. Let me just repeat them in case someone just jumped on. Self-awareness, resilience, positive self-talk, and then my favorite, courage. Now, I thought it was important tonight for me to share with you real stories from individuals that are a part of my coaching program. For those of you that don't know, I am the growth motivator, and I help individuals and organizations shed the weight that is holding them hostage. And so, with permission, of course, I have 3 individuals that I recently started coaching. They are a part of my 6-month coaching program. One of them is a part of my 12-month coaching program. And actually, one of them is someone that heard me speak and said, "Do you coach?" And I said, "Yes, I'm the growth motivator." So first, let me tell you about Emily. Emily is a young lady that I met speaking on the road. So she's not from Chicago, so I meet with her via Zoom. And Emily, she's brilliant. I mean, every conversation that I have with her, I learn something new. So Emily wanted to start her own business. And during one of my presentations, she heard about my entrepreneurial journey, which started in 2002. Studies show that new businesses don't last beyond 2 years. And so she said, "It's 2023. Your business must be thriving and you must be rich." And I said to her, "You might want to call my husband right now, because he says on a regular basis, this entrepreneurship is going to cause us to go bankrupt. But because he believes in me, he continues to support me. He's the producer behind all of my videos." So back to Emily. She's brilliant, but she lacked the confidence to pursue her business. We started with an initial conversation about what her business was all about. To my surprise, Emily had a business plan. Now, what's interesting, I shared with Emily, I did not get a business plan until probably 10 years into my business. And when I told her that, she said, "Whoa." I said, "Yes, Emily. Sometimes we spend a lot of time focusing on how it's going to happen, as opposed to just stepping out on faith and making it happen." So after we talked a couple of more sessions, Emily learned that she needed to embrace her inner confidence. She needed to operate in her zone of genius. Because I told you she's brilliant. I can't tell you about her business concept, right? But by session number 4, Emily not only had a website and an email account and marketing materials, but she also had her first client. Now, individual results may vary. So, what's the takeaway from that? When you embrace your inner confidence, it allows you to step out and pursue your dreams. That's what Emily did. Now, Michael. I love coaching men because, I don't know, maybe because I'm married to my husband, Paul. Sometimes men hear us, but they don't hear us. You know what I mean? Like, I just said that. And he's like, So let me tell you about Michael. So Michael is naturally an introverted person. And so Michael came up to me at a conference that I was at recently and said, "You are an amazing speaker." And I said, well, thank you. He said, "I am terrified of speaking." I said, "Well, what do you mean, Michael? You're speaking to me right now." He's like, "But I'm talking about in public." I said, "But Michael, during the Q&A session for the presentation, you were at the microphone." He said, "Yeah, it was you. I had to get up and ask you a question because you helped me embrace my zone of genius. You talked about all of the things that you experienced and how you took all of that experience with you and packaged it into who you are today. Who is afraid to be a public speaker, to speak in front of others? Type me in the chat. Because if that's you, I also coach speakers. I personally have been speaking since 2003 on small and large stages. I had an opportunity to present in Abu Dhabi. But I think that skill that I have, I was born with it. When I was younger, I had an imaginary friend. His name was Siki. And when my sister Misty came along, Siki disappeared. Misty is a powerhouse, so that probably explains why. And when she's in the room, you know it. So after several sessions with Michael decided he was going to confront his fears. And so one of the things that I like to do when I coach individuals, within reason, I will go on the journey with them and meet them where they are. So I said, Michael, this is your zone of genius, this area. I think you should submit and abstract a proposal to speak. And so Michael did. And guess what? Michael's proposal was so amazing, he got selected. Wait for it. Wait for it. Michael had never spoken before. But Michael got an opportunity to be a keynote speaker. I said, Michael, I've never been a keynote speaker on that large of a stage. Now, I've gone first, but my specialty is the closer. I can come and close a session down. I can come after lunch and perk everybody up. But Michael, who had never spoken in front of an audience, was a keynote speaker, a paid keynote speaker, I might add. And so during our session, because he actually sent me a text message, my individuals that I coach, they have my cell phone number. And so he texted me and said, I got it. And I said I had no doubt because the abstract, again, was flawless. So Michael discovered that embracing his inner confidence allows him to deliver an impactful presentation. So now Michael's presentation happens to be this weekend. And I told Michael, it's a coincidence. I happen to be in the area where your presentation is going to take place. So my husband and I are going to go and support you. And Michael broke down in tears. And I was shocked because I've only seen my husband cry like twice. I didn't even think men cried, right? And so we're on this Zoom, and Michael says to me, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for supporting me. And I said, Michael, well, I am the growth motivator. I help individuals and organizations shed the weight that's holding them hostage. You have been set free. He stopped crying and was laughing. And I am so excited to see him present because I know that he is going to deliver an impactful presentation. And he's going to connect with the audience on such a deep level that they are going to be booking him for speaking engagement after speaking engagement. All right, who is interested in being a professional speaker? If you are, please contact me. I would love to work with you because there's something freeing about speaking in front of others. Now, you may say, well, it's natural for you. And let me just share with you a little secret. Every time I have a presentation coming up, and you can ask my husband, this is no lie, I am a nervous wreck. My stomach is upset. But as soon as I step out there, I'm in my zone of genius, and it's like, let's go. All right, My third person in my last story that I want to share with you, and I would love for you to be one of my stories. So, my third person is an athlete. Now, this was way out of my area to some extent. I do watch the football with my husband, I do attend the basketball games, so I understand how a coach operates. And to some extent, as a leader, you got to be a coach. Take, for instance, Phil Jackson. He was an amazing coach. He is an amazing coach. He coached the Chicago Bulls through all of those championships. But it was about his leadership style and his ability to allow his players to operate in his zone of genius. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to release a mini leadership series. And this one is actually going to be registration only. And so I do hope that you sign up, because if you are a leader, you're struggling in your leadership space, this leadership series, it's going to be rewarding. And I'm going to bring the fire, trust me. So my third person, the athlete, had faced numerous setbacks in their journey. This particular person was drafted to the NFL. And this individual was not able to start. He got cut. Now, he wasn't one of the people who, they have come up first during the draft, right? It's not one of the people who is the first pick, the second pick, the third pick, and all the things. He was much later. The ones that don't make it on TV, those. So he got selected, he got cut, and he was hurt. He was from a small town where he didn't have lots of role models to help him with his growth, his mindset. And so he inboxed me in my DMs. Now, let me just tell you, that's kind of, it's kind of scary. I shared it with my husband, and he said, well, let's Google him. And we Googled him and found out he was a real person. And my husband said, well, I'm going to be, nearby when this first session jumps off, just to make sure nothing's going on, because this happened to be a face-to-face coaching session in my office. So yes, I do coach face-to-face. And so we sat down, we laughed, we talked about football. I know enough about football to be dangerous, right? Holding. So we started to unpack the struggles that he was having. Now, by this time, my husband had left. I called him back and I'm like, I need you to come, because my husband, believe it or not, he's a coach as well. And so he's a project manager, but he's also a coach, and he coaches young men to develop that confidence that they need to grow. And so this session was long, okay? So we started talking, and my husband started asking him questions about, his football abilities. And what we learned was that it was his mental inner voice that just kept talking. Now, let's be clear. I have a PhD in healthcare administration. I am not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, okay? I focus on growth. I use my personal experience, my personal journeys, my struggles. I actually talk about it in Grow With Me, which will be out August 5th, pre-sale, June 18th, Father's Day. You can get your pre-sale order in at drlisaLcampbell.org. So we started to unpack, and we learned that this dude was a beast. But he was in his head so much that he wouldn't allow himself to be great, and he got intimidated. And so this actually happened to be a situation where it went from me just coaching him to my husband and I coaching him together. Because you may not know this, because my husband likes to hide behind the camera. Together, we are a powerhouse. We are a power couple. And so when we finished a couple of sessions, he got a call to go to a team. And he said that voice, and this wasn't a psychological thing. It was just the things from his childhood, growing up with a single mother, right? With a single mother, his mother was a single parent. And so he grew up with all of this baggage that was holding him hostage. And as we started to shed that weight that was holding him back, you could see in his eyes that his inner confidence started to come out. So what's the moral of his story? When you embrace your inner confidence, you build resilience and it allows you to persevere. So let's talk about what we talked about tonight. So we talked about embracing your inner confidence, right? Throughout this entire time, we talked about embracing your inner confidence, the power of embracing your inner confidence. I gave you some inspiring stories. These are real people. We learned that embracing your inner confidence allows you to pursue your dreams, athlete, speaker, entrepreneur. Overcome your fears. Build that resilience that allows you to achieve success. So let me give you my final thought, because it is always my desire that these growth sessions are less than 30 minutes. If you want to grow with me for longer than 30 minutes, book a discovery call with me and we can talk about your growth journey. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Confidence is not about being perfect. Nobody is perfect. We all experience doubt. I told you about my doubt with my book cover. Embracing your inner confidence requires you to believe in yourself, take risk, and growing from every experience. When you embrace your inner confidence, you will unlock a world of possibilities. Thank you so much. Good night.
We would like to express sincerest appreciation to each one of you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or would like to connect with Dr. Campbell, please take a moment to scan the QR code on your screen. On behalf of Dr. Lisa L. Campbell and the entire team, we want to thank you once again for your participation. We hope you found today's event valuable and wish you a wonderful rest of your day.